Hey guys, welcome to Ask Me Anything About Evernote number 26. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comments. If you got one, I'll put them on the list. And don't forget to subscribe, tamingthetrunk.com, tamingthetrunk.com, or subscribe on YouTube. Right, here we go. Question from Eddie this week. Eddie. Let's have a look. Can I write a novel using Evernote? People have in the past. I know that if you Google it, folks have written novels. So I mean, yes, you can with some caveats. I think I've written kind of a couple of little books, but they're like PDF ebook type things. They're not like novels, and I've done that in Evernote, right? So I would say yes, you can, but you can't do the whole process. But to be fair, you can't do the whole process with an awful lot of apps, because at the end of the day, at some point, particularly if you've got a publisher involved, you're going to have to convert it to Microsoft Word. Pretty much everybody I've spoken to who deals with publishers, that is kind of like what you've got to use at the end of the day. So I would say, yes, you can, but only do it for the first draft. And then when you're kind of like editing together with a publisher, Microsoft Word. So let's have a look at a structure. So I've spoken to a couple of folk, and it's kind of like a structure that I use myself when I wrote my little PDF books ages ago. So what we're going to do, let's go into Notebooks view. So I'm going to create a notebook for, let's start off with the research. My book research. Let's have a capital R. There we go. And create that. Okay, so we have my book research. I'm now going to add that to a new stack, which is called my book, like so. So we got a book stack. I'm going to create another notebook in here called chapters. I'm going to create another notebook in here called characters. And I've got to create another one called locations. Okay, so the idea of this is that all your research goes in here. Okay, so whatever you're doing, researching things, you can research stuff. I mean, even if you snap a photo of a location or something, and it's a little bit of research, or so you can throw it into your research thing, you can write a little bit about it, and then you can kind of create a location out of it. So when you're on the move, you can use the mobile app, and you can kind of capture things straight into the book research thingy over there, which would be a good idea. I've spoken to a couple of folks. Now, you don't have to do this, but I've spoken to a couple of folks who use characters and locations to kind of create profiles for a particular character. So you would have a character, and then you would have, I don't know, let's say Dave. Okay, good old Dave. And this is basically a profile for Dave. One of the things that helps with this, continuity, kind of like in chapter 1, if you've said Dave's got, I don't know, blonde hair, and then in chapter 47, Dave's hair colour suddenly changes to brown or something. It helps you with the continuity, because, I mean, anybody, when you write in 50, 60, 70,000, 80,000 words, you can't remember absolutely everything about everything. So that's what I've seen some folk do is kind of use the characters folder for a profile. The same goes with locations. So you could create a profile for a railway station, or you could create, let's do a house. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you create a profile for an individual location. So again, it helps with continuity. When you go back to these locations within your story, you can keep the continuity and things going. So that is kind of like the basic structure of what I've spoken to folks, and I kind of do this myself, only not quite as developed as that, to create a book. Keep all your chapters together, or your characters together. So let's get into the chapters. You would have chapter 1, okay, and then we would have chapter 2. And let's do one more. Chapter 3, like that. Okay, so chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Let's sort those by title. Okay, so that we can see them in order. Chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. And then you can start writing your chapter within Evernote and putting it together. When you're actually doing the writing, now Evernote isn't completely distraction free. It's not 100% distraction free, but what you can do is you can click this little expand note button on the top and you can kind of take it so far. We can, where is it? View. There we go. So we can just chop the top and make it a little bit more. So view menu. Toggle full screen, F11 on a Windows keyboard. So you can kind of write from here. If you want to, you can hit dock mode, which might make it a little bit easier when you're writing at night. Let's go back to normal mode. Light mode, like so. And you can kind of like create a semi-distraction free writing environment to put your chapter and everything together, which I think will work quite well. And then just hit the little icon to take it back into the chapter thing. Now, this is where Evernote struggles. This is the part, kind of getting this out into a Word format to send to a publisher. So if you've got 70, chapters here, right? And you want to export them, we can Control A and we can Mac equivalent and we can select them all, right? And then we can, if we want to, export them as a PDF, okay? We can make sure the note order is in the correct note. We can have each note starts right after the previous one, or each note starts on a new page. So we can kind of have chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, like so. So you can export it like as a PDF, so you could send it to, friends and family who are reading your book and checking it for you, or you could send it to beta readers, things like that. That's quite easy. The hardest part of this is to get the book out into a Word document, because Evernote doesn't export as a Word doc, and I would love them to be able to do that. So one little workaround would be to export, not export as PDF, but just export as maybe a single web page or multiple web pages if you wanted each note as a separate one. Okay, probably single web page might be a little bit quicker. Multiple web pages, you might have more control. Untick, tick, whichever little bits here you want. You might just want to deselect them all, like so. And then when you export this, you export it as a HTML file, which you can then import into Microsoft Word. So that could be an idea for getting your book, kind of like all of your book, into Word. I would love to see some more export options. I'd love to see Word or Word included. I also like to see maybe Markdown as well included as an export, so you could just export these things. That would make life a little bit easier, I think. So that's kind of the structure and the way I would go about writing a novel in Evernote, particularly with this kind of structure in a stack. I don't think using a space would be particularly that useful for this. Might be from a visual element. You could add your chapters, your characters, your locations, your book research and that to a space, but that's pretty much just doing exactly the same what a stack does. One other thing that I have spoken to a couple of folk about is that they have used tags to define characters and locations. So they may add a tag sort of like Dave. So you know that chapter includes that character. And then when you click on the tab in your sidebar, I've got my tag showing, they're over here. So when you click kind of Dave, then you see all the chapters that Dave is kind of in. So that could be useful. Another way of keeping characters kind of attached would be to attach a link to the top. So when you talk about a character, so I don't know, Dave says something, and then you link Dave to the note, Dave. That may be helpful for some people, so they can kind of like interlink it. Something else which might be useful for writing a book would be to leave comments for yourself. So we could say, what does Dave actually say? Ooh, ho, ho, ho. There we go. And leave a little comment for yourself, like so. That could be useful. I've used that with reports and things, the comment system, the new comment system, which has just rolled out. So that could be useful. So there's lots of different little things that could kind of make writing a book in Evernote reasonably simple, reasonably easy. The biggest issue, the biggest problem is kind of getting them out at the end. But that HTML export and then importing into Word would work. So what I would say is yes, you can write a novel in Evernote, right? But it would most likely just be your first draft. And then when you start working on the edits and everything, you would most likely want to send that over to Microsoft Word or something like that, so you can collaborate with your publisher. But yeah, it can be done. I'd love to hear what other people think. If you've written a book, if you've done something in Evernote, let me know. Definitely leave some comments in the comments, and we can all learn from kind of like other folks' experiences, which is cool. So leave a comment if you've got a comment. If you've got a question, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Tamingthetrunk.com, tamingthetrunk.com. Subscribe on YouTube. Thanks for watching.